worry about it. And let's go ahead into the demo part. Okay, so let's start our demo right now. So first question, what is a cloud computing? So simple, as you see in the screen, cloud computing is the delivery of computing services like servers, storage, database, networking software, analytics, and more over the internet. Okay, so over the internet, if any cloud service provider, if they are offering you these kind of services like servers, storage, databases over the internet, then we are actually calling it as a cloud computing. So how they are actually earning, I'll go in detail. Okay, let's go to the next PPT and let's see this. So as I told you, cloud computing, obviously there we have, three types of security models. Okay, what are those? So we have a private cloud, public cloud, and hybrid cloud. Private cloud, if you see the private option, which means you are actually in a secure zone, which means you are, as you know, Microsoft Azure, AWS, these guys are already, they are actually famous for public cloud, which means, whenever you want to create a database servers, you can create it and you can access it from anywhere from, I mean, anywhere in the world. So by using the IP address, that is completely a cloud, public cloud, which means you can access your resources, IT resources, from outside, I mean, from outside of your network, which means this is publicly accessible. Anyone having that particular IP address and username, they can access that machine. So that is a public cloud without any restrictions, or without any firewall rules. So if you see the private environment here, private cloud is nothing but, you are operating in a safe and secure way within an organization, typically which is secured with a firewall, which means this private cloud is always secured with a firewall. Outsiders can't access these resources. They do have some firewall restrictions whenever they are actually trying to access those resources from the IT environment. Simply I can say it as intranet. Okay, whenever you are using the intranet, your company resources can't be accessed from the outside world. Similarly, if you are into a private cloud, okay, your resources can't be accessed from the outside world. So you are actually restricting with a network, or network security groups. There are a lot of components in Azure. By using those components, you are restricting the access. And hybrid cloud, so simple. Hybrid cloud is nothing but, it's a combination of both private and public clouds. you know you have both options here. You can make your resources as public whenever you want, you can make your resources as private whenever you want. So it's a combination of both private and public cloud. So this is all about the cloud models currently. Earlier, you have categories whenever you are actually taking a cloud subscription. What is a cloud subscription? In fact, I think a better example for this cloud subscription is your dish TVs like Tata Sky. So you have some TV channel providers like Tata Sky, Dish TV. There are a lot of many people. So for example, we are actually calling, why I am giving this example is, whenever you are actually taking a connection from them, they request you, they offer you, some packages like your custom channels. Like you need some English channels, and you can select your custom channels and you can take it as a package. So you need to pay for that monthly basis. So they are actually offering you on a subscription basis. So here also in cloud, whenever you want to deploy your resources, create your resources, then Microsoft is giving you an individual subscription for you, which is unique when compared with each and every customer. So you will get every month billing for that particular subscription. How much you use, or that much you pay, which means, for example, think you have a server and you are using it. Okay, you are using it from past 10 days and you don't have any work in next 20 days. Okay, just stopped it. Okay, which means your billing is stopped. Okay, this is actually the benefit of a cloud environment. So you are not going to be charged for the next 20 days because you are not using it. So simple. So whenever you want, you can just start it back and you can start working on it. So that's what we call it as, that's why the cloud is a huge success right now in the market. So each and every company, they are not ready to invest a huge amount on the IT infrastructure. They're actually, opting the cloud environment, and they are actually deploying their resources in the cloud environment. In So if you see the security, yeah, we'll talk about the security part a bit later because we have few more slides that we need to cover. So let's go
Yeah,
ahead with,
yeah, Shiva,
yeah,
can you explain me about hybrid cloud once again? I mean, I didn't
yeah, hybrid
example with that.
example, yes. Hybrid cloud is a common, as I told you, it's a combination of both public and private cloud. Earlier, why actually they have categorized these clouds, in fact, when initially the cloud environment started, okay, they have actually given on subscription basis. For example, I'm the customer and I want only a private cloud. I'm not interested in public cloud because that is not secure. People, a lot of companies, they have a security concern, so they want some private cloud. So you as a customer, Abhi, you as a customer, and you want a hybrid cloud because you use some resources. There are some scenarios in your current IT environment, okay, you need to give access to your customer also. For example, your customer came to you and you have a company, okay, your customer came to you and he requested one application. Application in the sense, he has some requirement and he shared with you. You have some developers, you ask them to work. Once your work is ready, in order to give the demo, or in order to host that application for testing purpose, even customer need to check on regular basis whether how much work was done, and he wants to check the status of that particular application. In that scenario, you just create a simple server or a web application. You need to give access to your environment. So that customer, he is not your employee, okay, he is your customer. How you are actually trusting it? So that's the reason you create some public server and you deploy that sample application on that server, and you just give the access to them. So which means, in fact, that application is in your network and still it is accessible. In this scenario, this private or public concept doesn't work, so you have to opt for the hybrid cloud. But current scenarios, you don't have any categories like private, public, or hybrid. Each and every subscription is eligible for these three cloud models. So I mean, currently if you take Azure subscription, you have these three facilities in your subscription. You don't have any separate option like earlier versions. So you have all these three features. So is this example okay, Abhi?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. So why use the cloud? So as I told you, it's very speed, scale, economic. Speed, faster than traditional application development. I think you got it. So simple example. As I told you earlier, the customer walks in and he shared his requirement, and then you want to start your development. Of course, as IT professional, so you need to first, you should, business analyst should analyze that, and after that architect need to give the some solution plan, and then administrators need to create the resources like server, databases, whatever they need, and then developers need to provide, I mean, admin need to provide the access to those machines, developers logins, and they start writing the code. So in order to build this infrastructure, actually it is taking some time, okay, taking some time, and there are a lot of approvals involved because whenever a developer is working on a machine, he needs some a good configurations. Like, it is costly because it is a server, so it is costly. So in order to build this infrastructure, it is, you are actually taking some time, and there will be some delay in delivering your project. So to avoid those scenarios, if you compare that on-premises versus cloud, in cloud, if you got the requirement, there are multiple steps in order to deploy the resources. Once you get approval for the resources, list of resources, within fraction of seconds you can deploy the resource, and developers can, however, the developers are added in the AD group. So within minutes they can log into the machine and they can start working on the application. So you have a good speed in order to deliver your product, in order to develop your application. So that's what we are calling it as a speed. So scale, what is the scale? Let's talk about the on-premise environment. Okay, currently three developers are working on three machines, and in fact the customer came back. Customer always changes the requirement. Okay, he just came back and he said, like, I have some changes in my application. The document that I've shared earlier, I need some changes in it, and developers, they start writing some code again, and they have some huge workload right now. So they are accessing multiple applications and they are writing some code. So the servers they are actually using is something that is only a 6 GB or 8 GB RAM. So but they want to scale up the machines because servers are getting the servers CPU consumption is high, so the performance obviously is decreasing, so they need some good configurations. Okay, once they get the approval, you know, in on-premise scenario they have to, if they are using a physical server, they need to go to IT administrator, you know, or a marketing guys, they need to go to the market and they need to purchase that infrastructure like the RAM, a 16 GB RAM. However, IT environments, they will be ready with these kind of hardware parts and all. But if you think about the cloud environment, just right click, okay, just you whatever the size you want, or whenever you know you don't have the, whenever you want, you can increase the capacity or the performance sizes of those particular resources, IT resources. Whenever you don't want you don't have the requirement, automatically you can scale up, scale down. So scale up and scale down whenever you want. You can auto scale your resources, okay, depending upon your usage. So once if you don't have the work, you can, if you scale down the machine, automatically your billing is also reduced. So this is how you can, automatically control your infrastructure and auto scale your resources. This is actually a good benefit in Azure, and still AWS is also offering the same features. Yes, we'll talk about the comparison actually. Economic, as I said you, it's a lower cost. Lower cost in the sense, simple, whenever you are not using, you are not paying for it. Whenever you are using, you are paying for it. So this means, if you are not using, you are not paying. Simply says like there will be no cost for it. So this is how you are actually saving your billing. Or make sure you guys, whenever you are using Azure cloud, if you are not using the resource, stop the resource, then only your billing will be stopped. This is how you can save it. So every company during Saturday and Sundays, they will be having some off. So all the databases, all the, not the databases, the servers who are using, the developers or some administrators, those servers, they'll stop that infrastructure in order to save the billing, which means thousands of dollars can be saved by stopping the machines during half business hours. So it is recommended to use it. So this is how you can save it. And whenever you compare a physical server and a cloud server, so for example, think, in order to manage a physical server in the cloud and physical server, you need to offer internet connection, you need to maintain the AC air conditioning charges, and then you need to take care of power management, and you need to take care of administrators, IT administrator, network administrator, cloud, storage, DB. So there are a lot of guys involved in order to maintain your IT environment. But in cloud, if you have a single person who has this cloud knowledge, he can take care of everything. So that's what a cloud environment is, hotcake in the market. So let's see what are the cloud service providers, what are the competitors of Microsoft Azure right now. Who are the competitors? So we have a few competitors, and these are all the network service providers. Sorry, not network, sorry, cloud service providers. So Amazon, AWS, NetSuite, Microsoft Azure, IBM Blooming, Cisco, Google Cloud Platform, and Salesforce. There are a lot of guys in the market. Why actually you are actually choosing Microsoft Azure? Because you have a good security, you have a very less cost. Microsoft is charging you very less amount when compared with all these network service providers, and it is very fast, and you get a daily a new feature. So which means new feature in the sense, fixing the old bugs and implementing some new standards, new strategies in the cloud platform. And so that's the reason they are actually good hit in the market right now. In 2018, Microsoft stands in the number one position in cloud, as a cloud service provider, because thousands of customers from Amazon is also migrating to the Microsoft Azure. So why Amazon? Because if you say cloud, obviously in market you only hear Amazon, because Amazon, it started in 2006, and still they, difference between Amazon and Microsoft Azure is simple. Amazon is completely outdated, which means they don't update their resources. For 5 years back, how they are, and still in the same position. So those guys, they are actually stable, so they don't give proper updates. So recently in 2016, they have a security breach, and a lot of customers, thousands of customers lost their data. So simple, whenever you are storing your cloud data in your cloud environment, you have to give a proper security and assurance that customer is not going to lose something. So data is important to each and every person. So Amazon just they have filed cases against Amazon, and nothing work out. Once the data is lost, no backups for those, everything is lost. Then the same day those customers migrated to Microsoft Azure, thousands of customers. So Microsoft Azure because till now Microsoft is taking care of, there are a lot of features in Microsoft Azure in order to secure your data, or back up your data, and replication parts. I'll also cover those everything in Azure topic. Let's talk. If I start talking about that, I'll be again diverting the demo session. Okay, let's talk in the next next sessions.